TCI is brought to you by Northern Fleet Standing at TaylorMade Stallions, sire of 5 millionaires and 8 Grade 1 winners.
Welcome back to TCI, your inside track to the Triple Crown. Alongside Joel Cunningham, I'm John Siegel. Joel, before we talk about this weekend, we have 2 major Derby preps, actually the last of the major Derby preps. Before we jump into that, let's look back at last weekend. I want to know how those 2 races affect the TCI top 10. Let's start off with the Wood Memorial, because I want to know, did Verrazano do enough with that Wood Memorial win to take over the #1 spot?
Well, we're not changing our top 5 until all the major Derby preps are in the book. So after this weekend with the Arkansas Derby and Bluegrass, in my opinion, that's when we'll start to shift around that top 5. We're going to give everybody an opportunity to run. If Oxbow wins from the 10 hole by 10 lengths, he might go to #1. So I'm going to wait to see them all run, and then there'll be some shifting around. But you'll obviously notice one horse isn't on there anymore, and that's Flashback due to the injury, and we'll talk about that. So I have to replace Flashback, and I really think one of our top 5 is going to win the Kentucky Derby at this point if you had to pin me against the wall. So with that being said, I'm bringing in Normandy Invasion based on his Wood Memorial performance. And we talk about the Wood a little bit. It was a race that really had no pace at all. You had an 80-1 shot on the lead. Obviously they go 13 and change. So once they get to the 3/8 pole, it became a very tactical jockey type race. It almost reminded me of a European turf race where they all just make that final run to the wire, and whoever has the best kick the last 3/8 quarter of a mile wins the race. That's kind of what it became. Obviously, you had a horse like Verrazano with such tactical speed. You had Vijack up there, Normandy Invasion, and you got a great finish from all 3 of them. They came home in 36 seconds, the final 8th, and 12 and change. Normandy Invasion was 3 lengths off of Verrazano when they hit the 8th pole. He comes home in sub-12, John. You had to be impressed with that. Overtakes Vijack late. So based on that finishing move and based on the fact that he's a closer that really didn't get the pace set up, I think you have to put him now into the top 5. And he's going to quickly become a wise guy horse, in my opinion, leading up to the Kentucky Derby.
All right, let's move now to the Santa Anita Derby. You mentioned Flashback in here. It's unfortunate that he got hurt. It was a great race there at the top of the stretch. You saw the 2 heavy hitters, Golden Sense, Flashback. Yeah, I thought Golden Sense ran huge in here. Did he do enough to get on the TCI top 10? He
did, John. He returns in a big way for us. I'm going to put him in the 6th spot. I mean, here's a colt we've always liked from a talent and class standpoint. The question was always the distance, and a 1/8 wasn't, really a question mark for me. If he got the right kind of trip, really the 1.25 distance, the classic distances, you wonder how far his pedigree is going to take him. But you look here, it was a fast race. Brisk gave it a 106, and you look at It's My Lucky Day with the 111. That 106 is the second fastest. Right. Brisk is rating him basically as the second fastest 3-year-old so far, and he did it at a 1/8. So you have to be impressed by that performance. He moves back on the list for us. But there was another storyline in the Santa Anita Derby. If we go to the Twin Spires TV race replay, we'll take a look at the stretch run. And you see here, Flashback, the gray colt on the outside. You see him lug in there, John, switching over to his right lead. Big colt in the middle of his finishing run there. You had to think something may have been pinching him at that time. And to me, he just never runs his race here. Similar to his stretch run in the San Felipe. Very disappointing. We find out afterwards, obviously, a knee chip. He's off the Derby trail. We talked about him having to come out of our top 5. Very disappointing because I think there's a lot of talent there. But let's not take anything away from Golden Sense. He runs a fast race in there. He tracks a fast pace behind the Southwest winner, a pretty quick colt, Super 99. Puts him away and still runs a good final time here to get a 106 Brisk rating here. So classy colt. Don't take anything away from Golden Sense.
Well, the interesting thing now will be the pace scenario in the Kentucky Derby. I mean, Golden Sense may find himself on the lead.
You make such a great point, John. I mean, looking at the contenders leading up to the Derby right now, where's your speed coming from? If Super 99 doesn't run, and I don't think they will at this point, Golden Sense could be your pace setter. It could be a very moderate pace, and he has a ton of class. Leave him alone on the front end, and he could hurt you.
All right, well, let's talk about this weekend's race. As we mentioned before, this is the last of the major Kentucky Derby preps. Joel, let's start off with the Bluegrass. Will Take Charge is in there at number 10. He's going to opt to train up to the Kentucky Derby at this point. We were there at the draw. You were kind of surprised at who they named the morning line favorite.
I was. Mike Battaglia made Uncaptured the morning line favorite, and I don't know if I'm super surprised by that. I mean, he ran well in the Spiral. Was your runner up in there, and to me, was clearly tired, needed the race, the last 16th of a mile. He looked like a tired colt. I think he's going to move forward in here, but to me, if you look at the key preps to the Bluegrass since they've run it on the poly track, it's been that Palm Beach Stakes, that classy turf stake at Gulfstream, because this plays so much like turf. And your winner, your easy winner, Redelick, coming out and drawing the 13 post now, I think that's perfect for him. With the speed he has to be able to break, go into that first turn, see how the pace develops on the inside of him, pick a good stalking trip to stay out of trouble. To me, Riddick is your colt to beat in this race, and I think he's going to ultimately be your favorite in here. But, John, it's a wide open group. That's why you get, an oversubscribed field. You're going to get 14 in here. We know the Kitten's Joys love this type track, so watch out for a colt like Charming Kitten. For me, Ramsey, Kitten's Joy, it all adds up in here. He was your runner-up behind Riddick in that Palm Beach Stakes. I think it's a wide-open group, and who knows what can happen, but I do think Riddick's a deserving favorite.
All right, before we move on to the Arkansas Derby, you surprised Palace Malice to giving it another shot?
I'm not surprised. Kai Campbell knows that this colt has some quality, wants an opportunity to run the Derby. You wonder, I like him on quality. The Polytrack's is the equalizer here. I don't know if he's going to handle it or not, so it's hard for me to endorse a colt like this. It's going to be 5 or 6 to 1 in this type of race.
All right, let's move on now to the Arkansas Derby, Joel. It's $1 million. We see our number 4 horse right now, which is Oxbow in here. Joel, the horse draws terribly again. Tell me, what do you think of his chances?
Man, Oxbow cannot catch a break, can he? He draws a 10 post in here. And even worse than that, I know they have a long run. At 1.8 miles there, they do have a pretty long run to that first turn for Gary Stevens to use his tactical speed, put him into the sort of trip that he needs to have, John. But, overanalyzing Frack Daddy, you draw right inside of them. They have tactical speed too. So it could be a situation where Stevens is really going to have to be, a master in figuring out this race very early on to put this colt in a good spot. It might be a blessing in disguise to a degree in that, maybe they're going to have to take him a little further off the pace, which looks like it's going to be honest. Divine Ambition, Falling Sky, Heaven's Runaway, could be a very good pace in this race. And I'd like to see Oxbow maybe set, 6-8 lengths off of him, make that one run. Don't make the lead too early so you have a chance to hang, and then finish, obviously, inside the 8th pole.
All right, there's a horse in here. He's our number 9 right now. It's War Academy. Joel, he doesn't have a ton of experience. You got him in at number 9. You think he's got a shot?
I think he has a huge upside, and I think he was your more than 9 favorite in the race just because Oxbow drew so poorly in here. I do think Oxbow's the best horse. I do think he's the horse to beat in here, but if that pace is honest, Mike Smith, obviously, Baffert, we get this old Baffert-Lucas sort of rivalry back in here, so it's a good race. I think if War Academy can save ground, find the trip, he's dangerous in here with a good pace.
All right, thank you, Joel, and thank you guys for watching. Make sure you come back next week. We'll recap these races, and we should have a good handle on the 2013 Kentucky Derby field.